My name is Jeremy Wade, and I hunt monsters. River monsters. I'm always on the alert for new information, new leads, and new investigations. I've received a tantalizing report. It's a story about a fish apparently attacking a diver, but there are frustratingly few details. And that's no wonder, because this story comes from a remote country in South America, a country called Suriname. But from what I've heard, this is not the work of South America's most notorious river monster, the piranha. So what is it? Can there really be a fish that pound for pound can challenge the piranha? Here we go. For the title of the most ferocious river monster of South America. There's only one way to find out. In pursuit of river monsters, I've travelled to the four corners of the globe. Suriname is one place I've never had cause to visit, until now. I've come to investigate the possibility that although everyone knows the notorious piranha, there may be a fish out here that has an even more fearsome reputation. Suriname is South America's best-kept secret. It is the smallest country on the continent with a population of only 500,000 people, but it can boast the largest continuous area of unspoilt rainforest in the world. Once a Dutch colony, it is a true melting pot of nationalities and cultures. The majority of the sparse population live along the coast. So the deeper into the country you go, the further you are from the civilized world. I have been to remote places before, but this is of a new order. If things go wrong out here, there is little hope of being rescued. I never need an excuse to fish. But actually, this is a good way to check my gear. I'm always relieved that it has survived the journey. Fishing is a good way to absorb the atmosphere of a new country. Suriname is only 4 degrees above the equator. In November, the temperature is constantly high and it can reach 90% humidity. After a few hours in the sun, all I have to show for my exertions is sweat. But at least I'm getting acclimatized, as I fear the adventure that lies ahead is not going to be easy. But first, I have to meet the victim in the story, the man who was attacked by this mystery fish. I've arranged to meet him where the attack happened, at the dam 2 hours out of the capital, Paramaribo. The dam was built on the Suriname River and completed in 1964. Creating one of the largest man-made lakes in the world, called Brokopondo, on the banks of which I meet Maurice Gans, a local man of Dutch descent. What was your job on the dam at the time?
We're asked to dive to see the erosion from in the downstream for big holes underneath. We pour in cement in big, large bags. So we go underneath there, start up the engine on top. The water becomes like mist. You cannot see anymore. Suddenly I saw something blinking. So I grab my knife and then he hits me. So fast, I pull out my hand. I don't know if the knife hits him. Then I start feeling and seeing the blood flowing. I realized I was bitten and very deep.
This was definitely not a piranha attack. They rush in snatching quick, savage bites. They don't cling onto their victims like a dog with a bone. Maurice's mutilated hand needed over 100 stitches, and even though it was 20 years ago, he still very much bears the scars. This the scar here?
Yes, this is the scar from here,
yes.
through here, over this small finger, cuts here. And those are the tooths from the top.
It's hard to believe there's a freshwater fish that would launch a solo attack on a diver.
Did you know what fish it was?
It's an Anumara.
Anumara, also known as the wolffish, so called for its wolf-like teeth. These fish can grow to nearly 4.5 feet and weigh 80 pounds. They are serious predators. But I had until now never heard of one ever attacking a person. I wonder if Morris ever had any other kind of close encounter while he was diving.
The only thing that we saw close behind us were piranhas.
Did that make you slightly nervous?
Not really, not really. But every time you do like this or you make a sudden move, they disappear.
They never came and took a nip out of any...
No.
So Morris often saw piranhas, but they never ever came close. Unlike this lone wolf. This fish attacked, and if Morris hadn't had his knife, who knows what could have happened. Could it be that the wolffish is more dangerous than the more notorious South American horror, the piranha? To find out, I need to confront one myself. I wonder if Morris's monster still haunts this river. From experience, many river monsters have little regard for our modern world. I've caught them near dams and in cities. Will this monster be any different?
The attack on Morris was 20 years ago, and as far as I'm aware, nothing like that has happened in this place since. And also this place seems to be comparatively developed, so I'm not really sure if this is where I should be looking.
I persevere through the night, but with no luck. In the morning, I head back into town to Paramaribo, Suriname's capital city. I need to find out where wolffish can be found. I head downtown to the fish market to try my luck.
This looks like a small Anumara, small wolffish.
As een kleine Ayumara.
Small is yeah, understand. This one isn't actually the Anumara. This is a small relative called here the Pataca. I've caught something very similar to this, maybe actually the same as this in Brazil. Those teeth are probably almost as vicious as a piranha's. They're also very slippery. It's like a bar of soap with teeth. It's the big one, a sort of scaled up version of this, which is what I'm looking for.
The wolffish I'm hunting are 10 times larger than these.
This one, Anumara. This is quite a surprise. I wasn't expecting to see this here. This is actually the fish I'm looking for. Hello, oh sorry.
Wolffish, it seems, are good eating. I ask where this fish came from, and the man tells me it was far away. But I don't leave the market empty-handed. I have procured the damaged head of a wolffish to examine later. I have also got the address of an old Anumara fisherman who lives in town.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Maybe he can tell me where to go to catch a wolffish. His name is Fritz van der Bosch. He shows me his old wolffish gear.
This is the reel that I get the most big Anumara.
So this is very strong light.
It may be outdated, but it's an impressive rig. And as we settle down to chat, he tells me of his own strange experience of being attacked by a wolffish.
A tree was falling over the creek and walk on the tree. And Anumara jumping to take my foot.
Yes. So your leg was out of the water?
The way you talk, I see you don't believe it, but it's danger, I tell you that. If the Anumara hungry, is dangerous.
This story really puts the wolffish into a different league. I have never heard of a fish trying to attack someone on land before. And there's another, more chilling story.
I go tell you something. An Indian woman was going to wash on the creek. I had a little dog. I mean, you want to jump. Then take the dog. Turn back in the water and go with the dog.
Reptilian monsters, like anacondas and gators, are known to snatch dogs from the water's edge. But a fish, now I'm even more determined to find a wolffish.
No, it is not easy to catch animal because you get too much people hunting.
I mean, it sounds like what you need to do now is go a long way away.
Before it was easy to go in there.
So you can't just do a short fishing trip. You have to make an expedition, really.
Sure, of that.
Okay.
It seems that people have driven out this aquatic wolf. It now exists only beyond civilization. To take it on, I'm now preparing to travel deep into Suriname's wild interior. Maybe there I'll find other stories of wolffish attacks that have just never made it out of the jungle alive. To find a monster more terrible than even the dreaded piranha. But to catch one, I must travel deep into the unknown, to a place where few people have ever been. Usually, there are signs of human habitation dotted around, but out here, there is nothing. I once survived a plane crash in Brazil and was lucky enough to walk to a nearby town. But out here, I wouldn't stand a chance. The landing strip is the only cleared patch of forest I have seen for nearly 2 hours. I wonder just what I've got myself into. Peter Sonneveld has a European name, but is 100% Surinamese. He will help me talk with the local people so I can collate any wolffish stories from this area. On the ground, the rainforest is as impressive as it is from the air, but our isolation is even more apparent. Not only are the heat and humidity oppressive, but our little group are possibly the only human beings in thousands of acres of tangled rainforest. At night, this place takes on an even more sinister character.
Well, it looks like we're just about here, but I'm not totally sure where here is. But it does sound like there's some serious water over here somewhere. But I'm going to have to wait until the morning to see exactly what I'm up against.
In all my years of fishing, this could be the most unspoilt and remote river that I've ever fished. The mighty Corentin River is 450 miles long and Suriname's largest. For most of its length, it is completely uninhabited and rarely explored. The river is punctuated by frequent crushing rapids and deep turbulent pools. There are vast granite boulders everywhere, some just under the water, others creating waterfalls. There are so many different fishing holes that I take every opportunity to get a bait or lure in the river, to cover as much water as I can. Different types of fish prefer different parts of the river. Having never hunted for wolffish here, I need to explore every likely fishing spot to see if I can discover the monster's lair. I'm using my short baitcaster rod for accuracy to get my eye in. Although it looks lightweight, this beauty with its strong braided line is capable of landing fish over 100 pounds. But there are more than just wolffish here. The Corentin is also home to the red-eyed piranha, one of the largest of its kind. This river really is the best place to compare these two toothy South American monsters.
That's a fish on. Fish on. Hey, fish off. Ah.
Suddenly, I'm getting action every cast.
Ah! When you get these things in, they are just so well hooked, and yet sometimes you hook one and somehow it just manages to get rid of the hooks. That was quite dramatic though. Short, but very, very dramatic. That's one on, that's one on. Let's see if I can keep this one on.
But is this a wolffish?
Haven't seen the fish yet. That is a piranha in the back. Foul hooked always feels bigger. Monster piranha. That is black in colour.
Just by looking at one, you can understand the piranha's reputation. But I've done experiments using myself as a guinea pig, and I've concluded that they're only dangerous to people in extreme circumstances. For piranhas, the mob rules. It's death by 1,000 cuts, and for that, they have no equal. But I'm comparing wolffish with piranhas one against one, and having now seen the piranhas they have to compete with, I'm even more wary about meeting a wolffish. Although I know there are piranhas around, I need to cover as much water as possible, even if it means wading. As a rule, I want to get a fish in as quickly as possible.
Yep. Good sized fish.
This ensures that when I release it, it still has plenty of energy, so it can recover more quickly. But this is not a wolffish.
It's called a peacock bass. Lovely fish, that. And the reason it's called a peacock bass, in English anyway, is that eye spot on the tail. And if they're lying in the water with their heads down like that, that really does look like an eye, and any predatory bird could easily mistake that for an eye. It really is very effective when this is underwater. Big mouth, predatory, cichlid this, but lovely fish. I don't want to have it out too long. I'll just admire it for a minute or two.
I wonder if, like wolves, the fish I'm after are nocturnal hunters. So I continue fishing into the night, but it's too risky to move around. There are too many hazards and dangers that could send me into the dark water. So I change tactics and stick to the shore. I'm fishing with a big bait cast into the stream. Fish on. But it's just another monster piranha.
It's supposed to be asleep now, but there's always one. Always one. Yeah.
It's November, and the rainy season is fast approaching. Carbon fibre rods make excellent lightning conductors. I don't know how long I can stay out here. Luckily, something picks up the bait. It feels big, much bigger than anything I've hooked so far. The question is, do I have one on the end of my line?
Okay. Right, that's a new species for here. That's a red-tailed catfish.
The local name for these fish is the motro tijali,
Right.
which translates as motor car on account of all the noises they make when out of the water.
Oops. Red-tailed catfish. It's another species that's active at night. Not what I was after, but that's quite interesting just to see a bit of variety here. It's a familiar species to me, but in a different part of South America. Bit of excitement. But the wrong kind of excitement.
I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Although I've not caught the wolffish I'm hunting, I have caught almost every other predatory fish that prowls these waterways, from monster red-eyed piranha to red-tailed catfish. Is there a trick that I'm missing in order to catch one of these elusive fish? But this time has also allowed me to prepare the wolffish skull that I got from the fish market in town. First thing that's immediately apparent is that unlike a human skull, this here is a real three-dimensional jigsaw puzzle. It's going to take me quite a bit of fiddling around for me to reassemble this, to find out exactly what it is that I'm up against. The size of this skull as it starts to come together is surprising. Considering it's from a fish no bigger than 10 pounds, imagine the jaws of a giant. Well, there it is. It might not be a museum quality reconstruction, but it does give a very good idea of the animal I'm going to be up against. Very, very hard, bony skull, fearsome fangs, and very big eye socket, so it's very clearly a sight predator. I mean, it really does look like some kind of dinosaur, but actually this thing was alive not very long ago, and there's more of them out there. I have now seen for myself that the wolffish is clearly well armed. But does it live up to its fearsome reputation? Over the next few days, I travel further and further, fishing as much as I can, to see if I can catch a live one to put this to the test. Oh, there's something at it, something's at it, something's at it, something's at it. Yeah, felt like piranha, and judging by the empty hook, that's what I'm thinking it was. Peter and I discussed tactics and locations. But I still have no wolffish for all the effort that I'm putting in. I can't help but feel there is a piece to this puzzle that I am missing. After several more days of trying with no success, my guide Peter suggests we visit the only village in the area and talk with the locals to see if they can give us the information that we need. The Trio tribe's village at Amatopo has no more than 20 huts. It is their only settlement on the Corentin River. They live with the wolffish, so they know it better than anyone. I'm hoping they will share some of its secrets with me. How dangerous exactly is the Anumara? Artinho was hunting, and he came to a creek near here called Mosquito Creek. And there was a troop of monkeys crossing the creek. They were going to the furthest branch on one side, jumping across onto the furthest branch the other side, and the whole group of monkeys had jumped apart from the last one. One missed the branch, landed in the water. As soon as it hit the water, it was attacked by a wolffish and killed. Suddenly, the stories come thick and fast. So somebody was actually bitten on the arm. That speaks of a real sort of aggression. Artinho's uncle was hunting one day with his dog. Hunting dogs, when they're hunting, they're barking, barking, barking. Artinho's uncle found his dog dead in the creek with its stomach ripped open.
And there's now another incident of somebody getting bitten, in this case on the thumb. So there's another 2 animals to add to the list. Snakes swimming on the surface and just being taken from below. There's a type of bird called an animal. This is a bird that comes to the water to drink, and likewise that's just grabbed by one of these fish just lurking there in ambush. I think you're sort of, wary about getting in the water sometimes.
Nanu, yuelo na ngayon dago. Dahil sabi ayaw maral like.
No, me no man. Me no.
So he says he's not jumping in.
Yeah.
Because where people don't fish, the Ayamara just very raw aggression.
People outside South America, they know all about piranhas. Now, locally, a wolffish. This is a fish with a very big reputation. It's known to be very aggressive, and there are certain circumstances where they will literally rip anything apart that goes near them.
Reptiles, birds, primates, even people. After listening to the trio tribe, it's clear that having the weaponry is one thing, having the attitude is quite another. The wolffish is well equipped with both. But one thing still eludes me. Where do you find them? Salamone agrees to take me fishing, but it's like no fishing I've done before. Straight away, we do something I wasn't expecting. Salamone leads me to a narrow creek, one that no one has been through for some time. We then take to the land and creep through the jungle.
Looks like we're following the course of a sort of a dried up sub-creek. So the chances are there's going to be a bit of a junction here. And that does look like the kind of place where you might find fish.
He fishes with a bow and arrow, the way his ancestors have for centuries.
Just stringing the bow. Just getting the tension in the bow. This is mimicking the sound of a water bird. So there's a little bit of disturbance on the surface, a little bit of whistling. The idea is this calls the wolffish in. I don't know if it's coincidence or what, but just seen movement on the surface, which looked very much like a wolffish. Oh, yes. Oh, it's on.
He missed it, but it has given me the last piece of this puzzle.
One thing very, very striking. That fish, when it came in, that was in very shallow water. Not just that, very, very tangly water. So this isn't a monster of the deep, this is a monster sometimes of the shallows. The fishing with a line is going to be very close quarters, and also these snags are going to present a real problem, not just in terms of getting a bait to a place where the fish can take it, but also if I get a heavy fish on, extracting it from all this stuff, it's going to be very challenging. And who knows, that might even be at night, so this is going to be quite some fishing.
I decide to have a go myself, using the gear I'm accustomed to. I'm now using my larger fixed spool reel and a big chunk of bait, with a wire trace to stop any sharp teeth from biting through. I'm also trying to make some disturbance on the surface, like Salamone did, to see if it will attract any hungry wolffish.
No takes on the bait, no reaction to the popper. Looks a good spot, but doesn't seem to be anything at home. We've reached the end of the navigable stretch of this creek now. It's just this impenetrable tangle of branches now. So if we were to hack our way through that, we'd just disturb everything. And you could hardly get a bait into the water. Anyway, very, very interesting fishing.
On our way back to the village on the main river, conditions are changing.
It may be nothing to worry about, this black cloud here, because the weather in the tropics, it can be very localised. You can see a storm over in one direction. Maybe it comes your way, you get wet, maybe it goes somewhere else.
But it seems to have passed us by. Or so I think. With nothing for the pot, Salamone takes me on a detour to catch some fish for dinner. I think this could be our spot here. So off the rocks, there's going to be a nice slack with eddies happening on the other side. But out on this exposed island in the middle of the river, we are about to discover just how changeable and dangerous conditions are in the rainforest.
This is a classic example of pure fishing in a way. It's starting with absolutely nothing, just coming down with a couple of rods, no bait, and just poking around in these cracks to find crabs, and then a crab is pulled into pieces, and that's where we start from. Hopefully we turn that.
Me, should I take this off?
I would. Yeah? That lightning strike was right on top of the Salamone was standing in the water. He actually felt a shock. He got a shock through the water. Abandoning. We're getting in the boat and we're going. Let's go. I
thought we'd all escaped that lightning strike. The soundman on my crew didn't.
Our sound recorder has been hit, was actually struck on the head by that bolt of lightning. Chris, are you okay? Are you responding?
Yeah, I'm
Good. Right, we might need some first aid here. Yeah, let's go.
Quick.
How are you feeling?
Good, it just hit the top of my head.
Right. We're moving away from the storm now, so that's good.
Just a very big headache.
Right.
And a pain on
right.
the hip. But I think my boots took a lot of it.
What, you rubber soles, good. I've got a bit of a headache. James, who's behind the camera at the moment, has got a headache. I think it might have actually hit all three of us. Chris definitely got the brunt of it. I mean, very, very lucky for him. He was actually wearing thick rubber sole boots, so he's conscious, which is a huge relief. Right, we're arriving at the back at the camp.
I suspect that the lightning bolt actually struck very close to where we were all standing. We all felt the effects of the strike, but Chris was obviously the closest. The remoteness of our location is now even more apparent. But thankfully, Chris's condition continues to improve, and within 12 hours he is once more back on his feet and eager to get me fishing again.
So if you just tell me again, how far from here we're going.
That night, Peter lays out his plans for us to head even deeper into the jungle, to try and reach some creeks that he believes will be the best places for us to catch a wolffish. But it will mean camping and being self-sufficient for several days in a place even more remote.
So it's a bit of a trade-off.
With all that has happened, it is a brave plan, and we decide to sleep on it. But I discuss it with the crew, and there is really only one decision.
I'm actually going even more remote, if such a thing is possible. I figure that if I'm going to find a big wolffish, I'm going to need to go somewhere where even the trio don't normally go.
The sheer size of the Corentin River is humbling. In places, it is over 2 miles wide, a confusion of tangled islands, channels, rocky outcrops, and narrow rapids. We are using a local boatman called Bonner, who knows the river well. Without him, I would quickly become lost in this watery maze. The jungle echoes with eerie calls and cries, but it is too impenetrable to reveal the creatures making the noise. 3 hours later, and with nothing but endless rainforest on either bank, we arrive at our new base camp. It's a collection of small tents on a sandbar on an island in the middle of nowhere. From here, I will carry out my campaign to catch a wolffish. I waste no time getting ready. And before the sun sets, we head out to the nearest creek to get our bearings. Wolffish, it seems, head up creeks during the wet season, dispersing into the flooded forest. But as the water recedes, they are forced back down towards the main river. It is then that they are at their easiest to find. I'm here in what should be the lowest water levels of the year, but straight away it is apparent the conditions are not ideal. Very much mixed feelings on arriving at the camp. The thing that struck me immediately was that the water level is probably about 2 foot up on what we'd hoped for, what we'd expected, and what is ideal for catching the wolffish. Basically what that means is that the creeks are going to be that much fuller, so the fish aren't going to be concentrated, they're going to be spread up the creek. They won't be as hungry, they won't be as aggressive, so catching them is likely to be harder than I expected. But of course, I push on. Oh, look at this, the water's just fizzing away there. That is fish. The thing is, it's almost impossible to cast into the middle of that. Oh, one turn from it. Ah! Is it there? No, it's, yeah. It's off. Damn! I saw the fish there. That was a peacock bass. And I discover I'm not the only fisherman out here. Just spotted a caiman just here amongst these branches, looking at me directly with this big eye. And I suppose I'm just about to go up the creek here. I'm just trying to get my eye in for spotting things in the water, so I'm quite pleased that I spotted that. I think the wolffish are going to be quite similar. It's going to be a case of looking for something just not quite right amongst lots and lots of tangled branches and weeds, that kind of thing. I have now heard incredible stories of how fearless wolffish are. I have caught the huge piranha that they compete with in these rivers. I have travelled so far and risked so much, but to fall at the last hurdle would be a disaster. This creek is a really eerie place. A pool enclosed by rainforest in the heart of nowhere. I have never felt so tiny and remote. The fragility of my safety has never been so clear. And to make matters worse, I'm not alone. A caiman, South America's alligator. Large ones have been known to attack people. Although normally quite wary, this one is completely unafraid of me, testament to how far from people I have travelled. I don't want him to come too close, but it's no wonder he has made this creek his home. It's piranha. That's off. Ah. It's alive with piranhas. It's actually very frustrating. Every bait I'm throwing out is getting attacked, but unfortunately it's by piranhas. Ah, piranha again. I'm hoping that as the light fades, they will become less active. But at the moment, I've got a dwindling supply of bait because the piranhas are just attacking it every time. My best chance is to wait until night. Salamoni told me that once the sun sets, the piranhas run and hide, because that's when the wolffish come out to hunt. It seems the piranhas know who the real river monster is.
Fish on. Oh yeah.
I've finally got a wolffish on my line, but I'm not the only one with an eye on my catch.
There's a caiman right in front of me.
I do the only thing I can think of,
I'm going to try and just pull this up on the side.
with the worst possible result.
I was trying to pull the fish up on the side because a caiman was after it, and I've lost it. I've lost it. Damn! Should have had that fish. If that caiman hadn't been there, I'd have probably had that fish. What I was trying to do was just slide it up on the side here. Hook came out. Hey. Damn!
I can't risk going back, even though I know wolffish are there. Caiman are territorial, and it was certainly not afraid of me. It will be there again tomorrow without doubt, and next time it might not just go for the fish. A 7-foot caiman could easily attack, and a severe injury out here would have serious ramifications. But morning gives us another problem: rain. The storm makes me and the whole crew nervous. We are nearing the end of the dry season. When the rainy season starts, two things will happen. First, the creeks will flood, and the fish, already hard to find, will disappear into flooded forest, making them impossible to catch. Second, and possibly more important, we could become stranded. The airstrip is upstream, and it's our only way home. If the water gets too high and fast, we will not be able to get out. It's a sobering thought, and it makes me look as much to the sky as I do to the water. And I certainly don't want to test the theory that lightning never strikes the same place twice. The new creek that I'm targeting is much narrower and even more surrounded with snags and tangles than the previous one.
Oh, it's off.
Nothing seems to be going my way. All my previous luck seems to have run out.
Let's put a bit of bait on here, not getting any response to artificials, so we're putting a lump of piranha on. There's been a couple of fish actually moving in here, one right underneath this tangle of branches. So it's fishing right in the middle of snags. In a place like this, if it gets even a few feet, it's wrapped itself around a branch. So I give it just enough line to take the bait properly, and then it's just try and haul it to the boat. There's been nothing moving here now for quite a while, so I think what I'll do, I'll go further up the creek and maybe drop in here later. Nothing doing here at the moment.
I use the large float that I've used before, but out in these creeks it's hard to know what is a fish and what is a snag.
Okay.
But these snags are more than just potential fishing hazards. With half-hidden roots and fallen trees, navigating this waterway at night is a disaster waiting to happen. And it seems every creek has its caiman. To make matters worse, I hear a rumble of thunder. My window of opportunity is about to slam shut. This could be my last chance to catch a wolffish.
Oh, wait. Oh, off. No, I think that could have been a piranha that took it into a snag. I think it could be time to call it a night. These things are very active at the moment.
With the storm edging ever closer and hungry piranhas seemingly beating any wolffish to my bait, I'm considering calling it a night. But then I make a discovery.
Oh, wait a minute, I've got a scale here. That looks like a small wolffish.
The storm is closing in, but so are the wolffish. I decide to fish on.
Here we go.
Finally, a strong take. It's a wolffish, the monster I've spent the past 3 weeks trying to catch.
Here we go.
And it's a big one.
Over she comes. Ah. But fantastic, here we go. That's a result, that's lovely. So here we are, this is the wolffish. And the stories I've heard about these, absolutely fearless. Anything comes near them, dogs, people, they'll go for it. So it looks quite gap-toothed, but actually, pull those lips back and you see they're very spiky fangs underneath there. The other thing about it is the fishing is just unlike anything I've done before. It's real guerrilla, close quarters, hand-to-hand combat almost.
My quest for the wolffish has pushed me to my limits.
Damn!
It seems appropriate that I've had to push deeper and deeper into the greatest rainforest in the world to find the most savage and untamed river monster to date. The piranha gets all the press, but this guy delivers the goods. It's well armed with a fearsome set of teeth, but it's also fiery and fearless, attacking animals and people, even out of the water. And I'm convinced
this is the fish that possibly pound for pound is the toughest, most monstrous fish of South America. There it is, the wolffish.
Finally, after 10 days of searching, a giant electric eel is right in front of me.